Okay, I want to make this video here this morning, and I want to call it Kicking Down Doors. And I know you may be like, Pastor Dow, what in the world are you talking about, and what do you mean kicking down doors? Well, I want you to listen to me very closely. It's no secret, if you've been listening to me for any amount of time whatsoever at all, that I constantly drill into our minds situational awareness. I want to make sure, and I want to ensure that we are informed to the best of our ability, and not only to be informed to the best of our ability, but that we take the necessary steps to make sure and ensure that we are ready for any situation possible. I mean, I'm going to have many digressions in this video. It's going to be a short video, but I want to stimulate thought. I want to talk to your conscience. I want to speak to your mind. And I want you to understand and see how very important it is to become proactive and be proactive in life, what you're doing right now, because if something doesn't change, then the situation will change you. Did you hear what I said? If something doesn't change about your mindset, then the situation will change you. And your ability to resist will be null, nil, and void. Well, we understand about the things that just happened up here in Boston. We can go all the way over to California with Chris Donner. And we saw that the LAPD decided to take the law into their own hands, and they became judge, jury, and executioner of this man without due process or trial. They gave it all in one sweep. We also saw that in the midst of their tirade are just literally losing their mind. And this is what happens a lot when you have a lot of military, or let me say this, a lot of so-called quote-unquote law enforcement. People who are in law enforcement who have never been in the military. You know, they get trigger happy real quick and real fast. And I'm not, touting the military as some grand thing, but there's a reason why that they train lively and train in live situations over and over and over and over again. It's unlike urban warfare that you experience here all the time in America. But these people become trigger happy at the first sign of what they call a threat. I can't tell you, well, let me just go this route. I remember a situation that I had a friend of mine that was a lawyer. And he had called the police because he believed that there was a threat going on at his house. He called us first and asked us if we could come over because he felt like that his family was in danger. So we went over because he's a friend. And of course, he even though we were there and stuff, something else had taken place. And of course, we were on the situation just like that. Now, we're not vigilantes. We're over a friend's house and there's a possible threat. And so we're going to do whatever we can to neutralize that threat. And so anyway, he calls the police. Well, when the police got there and he begins to explain to them what's going on, all of a sudden the police turned their attention to me and the brothers I had with me. They noticed that we had guns on us. We were armed. Well, anyway, the attention, we are the ones that all of a sudden got treated like the criminals. So they proceeded in what they called their manner of line of questioning, and I proceeded right back in my line of questioning. And this is the reason why you need to be informed of the law. And so if I move my hand slightly, don't you move your hand. I said, wait a minute, don't you move your hand. Because if you think that I'm a threat, right now, this situation it's starting to escalate. And you have a gun, I have a gun, and you're becoming a threat to my safety. See the situation there now? And so people start to use a little bit of reason and stuff, because the last thing you want is a firefight in the middle of downtown. That's the last thing you want. They don't know me, I don't know them. Now, I'm not like the Americans. I don't trust a person simply because they have a uniform and a badge on. No. Pastor Dow has been in too many situations that I don't have too much trust for humanity whatsoever at all, especially if they pose a possible threat to me, whether they have a uniform or not. And you would do well to adopt the same type of spirit and attitude, because there's just entirely too many evils and injustices perpetuated on people, especially American citizens, because you got a trigger-happy police officer who seem to lose his mind at the time and stuff, and they all get acquitted. They all get acquitted, no matter what. Well, anyway, let me stay on the reason why I'm on this video, okay? Because I'm very passionate and I get stirred up pretty quick. Well, anyway, this Chris Dorner guy, he totally lost his life. So we go up here to Boston and stuff, and all of a sudden there's this pressure cooker bomb. They turned this guy into spaghetti. Man, matter of fact, they shot him so much. That's fear. That's not self-control. That's fear. And these are supposed to be so-called, quote-unquote, trained professionals. Remember that time up in New York just before this? They had a situation took place, and they had police officers up there just spraying bullets all over the place simply because they were fearful and not trained. Now, they all claim and think that they're trained, but they were very fearful and people were getting shot. Well, in that Chris Dorner thing, a lady just settled a case for $4.2 million for being a victim of a bullet coming out of the barrel of a so-called trained professional. These people are so-called trained professionals, and 90% of the time, they don't even hit the target. You know the reason why? Because there's something that takes place inside of you. It's called adrenaline. And then there's all these different types of things, fears and emotions that take place. And as calm as you are when you're on the range shooting, are you following me? That's totally different. That is a total different situation than a live situation. That's why in the military, they have a lot of live fire exercises. Number one, you get used to the sound of live rounds actually winging by your head. And that depends on the type of level of military that you're exposed to while you're in as well. And it also teaches you self-control. And of course, you have to have keen eyesight and keen visions to know what is a threat and what is not a threat. So we saw a 19-year-old up there literally seeing 40,000 police officers into a tailspin, law enforcement officials. 19 years old, high school graduate, not even trained. If a 19-year-old could command that kind of attention, and it takes that kind of force that long to actually capture this alleged guilty person, the 19-year-old, we are in some serious trouble. No wonder the government view veterans as a threat. Can you imagine if you had just 10 soldiers trained to the level that I am, and another pastor friend that I have of mine who is retired special forces? Can you imagine if 10 of us was on the loose? It would take probably the whole United States Army, and they would probably have to literally confine the states for the next 5 states just in order to trap us and get us. I mean, they would probably have to use 10 to 15,000 drones. That's the reason why that you see all this legislation to demonize veterans and stuff, because they've been in situations to where they're not going to lose their mind just because bullets are flying. And they've been in hostile situations that they know how to protect themselves and to keep self-control, maintain control, while at the same time they keep their emotions and their fears in wraps. And if you are already a government here in this country, and I don't think there's an American in this country that actually trusts in their government. I know I'm not one. Not according to what I'm seeing. There's no way that you're going to trust any of these people. So we got problems here in this country. And I said all that to get to this point. Before they captured, well, they killed one and so-called captured another. I think they put a bullet through his neck. But before they captured this man, do you understand? Do you understand? And I want you people to really, truly listen to me, you that are still in these population centers. That's not to say that the same thing can't take place out here. I've got a brand new brother in the Most High who has an extensive criminal record as a drug dealer that attends services with us. He's a changed man. He's definitely changed, no doubt about it. He and his wife have an honest business. They are self-employed, have an honest cleaning business. And of course, you know, people up here in these little small country towns, they're not used to seeing a lot of this color skin right here in these areas. So when they're starting to see a lot of this color skin in this area where people are so-called quote-unquote well-to-do, driving brand new vehicles and stuff, it starts to bring a sense of awareness to them. So just the slightest thing, they start pulling you over. And when they pull you over, they really, truly, chances are when you get pulled over, you're not being pulled over because you've done anything wrong. You pulled over simply because you have been racially profiled. I can say that because I'm the only black preacher in this area. And there's probably not even, I guarantee you there's not even 10 black men in this whole entire county up here. Not even 10, nowhere near it. So when you start to get people of other colors and other ethnic backgrounds start coming this way, and it's amazing. It's amazing. It's like that the citizens here in this country, in this city, it's like as soon as they see somebody that looks different than them, first thing they do, they probably get on their cell phone. Hey, I'm calling the police department because we got some people up here that shouldn't be in this area. And it seems like every one of them, every single one of them, they get, all of a sudden there's an unmarked car or there's police trailing them and stuff. And it's just utterly amazing. Utterly amazing how they get harassed. And we're supposed to be in a so-called free country. Just the other day, I made a video of showing how up here in this little county up here, that my neighbor up here, who's a white woman, had a cross with the words FU on it, with 2 swastikas on the side and a noose. And you know what our county so-called officials did about it? Big old fat zero goose egg, nothing. They write a report. I started educating her and telling her, because she already knows because her husband is well informed too. I said, let me tell you something. You need to start doing this, and this, because you need to be informed. Because if you're not informed, you're going to be destroyed for a lack of knowledge. So anyway, this man comes up here and he's visiting us and stuff. And the next thing you know, the cop turns around and they, you know, and of course they pull him over. And then they, you know, oh, you were speeding. Well, truth is he wasn't speeding at all. But that's what they can say. They call it proper cause. So he ended up running his license. Next thing you know, they find out that he was a drug dealer. And because look what your past gets you now. So they end up telling him and his wife, get out of the car. They bought 2 or 3 other cars, start searching the things for drugs. What, you got drugs? Where you going? Where you going? Where you going? And of course, these people, they can't wait to find something on me. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you all real clear. You ain't going to find nothing on me. I'm not a drug dealer. I don't do drugs. As a matter of fact, if you listen to me, you'll see the reason why I tell people to stop doing drugs, because I see the effects on the minds of people who do drugs. It is an everlasting effect, and I'm telling you, there are some receptor problems that these people don't fire on all cylinders. I promise you. You may have fun when you're young, but when you get old, you got some serious problems ahead of you. And I tell you, it's going to take the Most High to help you out in that situation. So anyway, because of his past, he has to put up with this type of harassment. And of course, they threatened to bring out the dogs. And of course, you know what the sister was doing? She was singing one of the songs that she learned from here. Anyway, they didn't find nothing. Didn't apologize either. Damn near tore the car apart, but didn't find anything. And well, you understand, we've got to do our job. So I immediately started informing this brother. Next time you have a situation like that, this is how you respond. This is what you say. And this is how you react to it. But it's fear that's controlling these people. And I'm telling you, when people are fearful, they're totally out of control. They've lost all self-control. But anyway, they turned Boston upside down. I think, but the greatest tragedy of all this is all these innocent people who got met at gunpoint by your government, and you were treated as a criminal. They kicked down your doors. They ran into the house, roughed up your wife, roughed up your husband, roughed up your children, hollering and screaming, get your hands up, get your hands up, get your hands up. In America now. They didn't care if you was an American, guilty or not. They did not care. No warrant, no nothing. It is off the chain, gone. They treated you all like criminals. And these boogers got their fingers on the trigger at the ready position. One slip could have cost you, your wife, or your child, or your children their life. One wrong move, and our system would have justified the police officers and not you. And they are your public servants. And yet they treat you as the criminal because of what somebody else does. And can you imagine if you came to the door and you had a gun on your side? They said, we got the terrorists. We got the terrorists because we filled them up for long. We got him. I keep telling you, Americans are so gullible that as soon as a crime happens on this soil, they don't care if this person is innocent or guilty. As long as the news media and as long as the law enforcement officials report this as the terrorist and they get blood, they kill somebody, hey, in your mind and your conscience, whoo, boy, we can all rest. Woo, we can all sleep now. We finally got them. Woo, I'm so glad that they got them. And you believe that. And you believe that. What's to say it's not going to happen to you one day? Huh? What's to say it's not going to happen to you one day? We all can see that the environment and the structure of our country is changing on a daily basis. I mean a daily basis. You should inform yourself and you should know how to conduct and carry yourself. And of course, that takes time because you have to spend the time, the resources, and the effort in order to do that. I personally think that, and you know, people, they take me on the chin because I'm a pastor and I advocate carrying a sword. Well, I ask you a question. Did Jesus' disciples carry a sword? Did not Peter carry a sword? What did he say in Luke 22:36? If you don't know, go read it for yourself. What did they do in Nehemiah when they were trying to rebuild the temple and they were receiving harassment from the Jews? What did the Israelites do? What did they do? I'm not going to tell you. You go read it for yourself because you're already indoctrinated by the state religion of Christianity that can't nobody penetrate nothing. But maybe if you read it for yourself, it will start the transformation of your life. Maybe you would change. Just maybe you would change your viewpoint and your perspective and especially your opinion. And maybe you'll start listening to me and find out that I'm not the one that's lying to you. I'm not the one that's lying to you. I'm telling you the truth. The University of the Painful Truth. I believe that every saint of the Most High shall have a sword. I always pray, and I include it in my prayers, that I would never, ever, ever have to ever fire my sword, my gun, on any individual or any human being whatsoever at all. I pray that all the time. I pray that all the time because that's not why I carry it. I don't care because I have a chip on my shoulder. I want to shoot somebody. No, I carry it to protect myself from all enemies, foreign and domestic. And I pray that I hope I never, ever have to use it. But I'm glad that I'm prepared in case I have to, because you know that Jeremiah in the 48th chapter said that there's a curse upon him that keepeth back his sword from blood. Nah, most of you people don't know that. You don't know! You don't know! And as soon as you see a pastor with a gun, oh, look, he got a gun, look, he got. Boy, you people have been conditioned. They have done such a job on you. It's unbelievable. It is off the chain unbelievable. I guess I'm the terrorist now since I advocate that you should train your children. You should homeschool. I'm a terrorist now because I advocate and say that you should get out of the cities. Pastor Dollar ain't just been saying get out of the cities in the last few years. I've been telling you this for the last 15 years. And to prove that I believe what I say, look at my footprint and my footsteps. I'm not one of these preachers up here that's telling you what to do and expecting you to stretch yourself beyond reason and imagination and give you all these instructions And yet I'm not obeying them myself. Before I get up here and speak on anything, I make sure that I understand what I'm talking about and that I myself am first a leader and a protector. That I myself first am one who is actually leading by example and have done this myself. That way you can't point the finger and say, oh, he ain't done it. See, ain't nobody gonna sit up here and say that I don't live what I preach, because I do. Tensions are running very high in this country, and we in some serious trouble, very serious trouble. The last thing you want to do is come to your door and be face down with about 50 or 60 police officers, SWAT team members who have their finger on the trigger at the ready position and ready to shoot you at a moment's notice. Just if you just make one wrong move, because it's going to be their word and they work for the state, and the state is going to support their employers over you, the citizen, even though you are the ones that employ them. The truth is, you, the citizens, are their masters. I know it's a forgotten concept. 99% of the people who join the military don't even know what the Constitution says. Never even read one paragraph. Oh, boy. We got problems. Serious problems in this country. And you have a lot of evaluating to do. The message is still the same coming from me. You get out of the city, you get out of debt. You obtain a firearm and get proficient training on that firearm. And forget what the world called experts or license. So they may be expert or licensed and stuff. I believe myself and Pastor Fox is a whole lot more of an expert than the people who have the paperwork and credentials from the state simply by virtue of experience. How about that? I think y'all ought to consider what I say. And I hope, that's all I can do is hope, that you gain understanding. Go back and look into YouTube and see how these people went through these cities, door to door, and look how they treated the people. And you tell me how long you want to continue to stay in those population centers called cities.